So we're with Alex from Paisley Pilates this morning. Hi.
Hi. Hi.
And we're just going to talk about how important it is to keep fit in pregnancy and postnatally as well, and the exercises that you can do, but also the relevance of having the right teacher for the stage that you're at as well. So how did you get into Pilates?
So I got into Pilates because I used to have a desk job, so I used to work ridiculously long hours and ended up with really poor posture, it hurt, and I was going to see a chiropractor, and the chiropractor was like, well, I can keep fixing you, or you can do something and you can sort it out yourself. So he said, go try Pilates, but find a good teacher. He did. And then I suddenly found that I could move, I could work out without pain, and just fell in love with it from there, really. So that sort of started my Pilates journey, so to speak.
And is it something that you keep learning every time you do it?
Oh yeah.
You don't kind of like know it all.
I don't think you can ever know it all. So every time, sort of with your Pilates practice, it's not just on a mat in the studio for an hour, same routine. It becomes sort of your life. So you think about posture, your breathing every time you move, being aware of where you are in space, what muscles you're using to prevent injury and pain, especially looking after a 4-year-old, which is quite heavy.
You also come around labour wards, you'd see hundreds of midwives like bending over and not standing properly and crouching and leg to catch a baby. You'll be like, what are you doing?
Maybe we could do specific Pilates classes for baby catching.
Good idea. Get a strong on something there.
But constantly learning. I mean, we're so lucky sort of with the internet and everything. There are so many people doing research and things into the body, physios, some great research coming out of Australia and New Zealand, and just sort of keeping on top of these things that they're finding about, what's the not necessarily the best way to move, but what's best for this person isn't best for that person, and being able to work in your head, this is what person A needs, this is what person B needs, this person's completely different. So like in my class, it's quite small in here, everybody's doing something slightly different because we're not all built the same. Don't all have the same needs. And you just continue to learn. And I love a course. I love to learn. I wish I cracked onto this learning earlier in my life, but you know what, once you find your passion, which is yours too.
It's very similar actually to midwifery, because that is, you're just constantly learning as well.
And every day, and like you were saying, that everybody is different. What's normal for one person may not be normal for another. So you've just got to tweak your practice, tweak whatever you're doing to suit that person that you're with at that time.
And the more people you see, the better your brain or even your eye gets at going, right, well that's not quite right, or that's not quite right, that is what's not working for you. If we can sort that out, help you with that, you're going to feel so much better.
So really, it's with regards to pregnancy then, and pregnancy Pilates, it's nice to have a smaller group then, because you need to be able to dedicate.
Because bodies are so different. Pregnancies are so different.
Absolutely.
People who have more than one baby, it's never the same twice. And of course, a first-time mum, or a second-time mum, or a third-time mum, fourth-time mum, they could all be in such a different place in their bodies, and obviously with the extra sort of weight and strain of carrying a baby, I need to be able to have my eyes on them. I need to be able to see exactly what they're doing, so they're not doing anything they're going to injure themselves, or something that's not optimal.
So really, it's so important to get the right practitioner then.
Definitely.
Find the right group.
You want to find somebody who is passionate about what they do, because obviously once you're passionate about what you do, you want to learn, you want to know, you want to do the best all the time. But also as well, research and things has moved on so much that things that people used to say about, you mustn't do this in Pilates, you mustn't do that, you mustn't do this when you're pregnant. And things like this, we don't do any of the anything as loaded as this, because the body is busy building the baby. We want strength. So classes, it doesn't need to be easy, and all a bit soft and gentle. You can work hard, but it needs to take into consideration all the adaptations that the body's going through. So nothing that crunches, nothing like a crunch, nothing with any forward flexion, nothing like a plank or anything else. So his tummy muscles are busy. All the exercises that we do are modified. So they're not necessarily Pilates exercises. The breathing is key.
Yeah.
The breathing lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Which is really good because that sets you up for labour then as well.
Yeah.
You know.
well, yes.
So all this is building stamina because you're going to need stamina for labour.
And the breathing, I quite often say to my ladies, you do have to breathe. When breathing is a bit important.
It's very important.
Yeah.
To feed the muscles.
Yeah.
So even if you just think, normal people go for a run, you're breathing to keep your muscles working, to keep you running.
Yeah.
Labour, for some people, labour will be the most physically challenging thing they ever do in their entire life. So you can think of it as your marathon. You're training for a
So
marathon.
you need to do that training.
And what gestation would they start? Pilates or yoga
Usually,
if they've never done it before?
If they've never done it before, well, usually for new clients, certainly they have to have had a 12-week scan.
Sure.
Midwife or consultant has said, yeah, no, you're good
Okay,
to go.
to do this,
Most will be like, yes, do it, because we know that the more exercise that you do in pregnancy, it makes you stronger, keeps your abdominals strong, contractions, muscles.
Yeah.
Wow. So
And so
lots of benefits.
So what's the difference with Pilates in pregnancy and yoga in pregnancy?
It depends on the class, depends on the teacher. So a lot of the exercises that we do are physically challenging, so we're building muscles.
Yeah.
So we've got squats, lunges, balance work, because of course central gravity changes quite a lot. We do lots of stretches to think about preparing for birth. So we're thinking about making sure the sacrum can move, that the inner thighs can move, and again keeping supple and mobile through the lower back. So we're not moving to an end range, because in pregnancy you don't feel pain like you do normally. So you could injure yourself if you go too
and
big.
all those muscles and ligaments are that much softer and
that much
stretchy.
So it's just not going out. So it's finding sort of each individual client's end range, not pushing past that, which you might ordinarily say, no, come on, feel that stretch, push a little bit more. We don't want to do that in pregnancy, because the last thing we want to happen is for them to overstretch, do something, because they're not going to feel it until after the baby's born. So we don't really want to be into that situation. So it depends a lot on the teacher. I mean, we do at the end of every class they all get to have lie down, which I think is where they go.
Relaxation.
Sort of like a relaxation. So some mindfulness around birthing, about sort of the physicality of birthing. Sometimes it will be there's some really lovely sort of birth stories that have been written. So sometimes I will read one of those to them. So they've got the positive
message.
All about positivity. Some things as well about how to. We've got one about how you can sort of create a shield of light around yourself, and this, because everyone's got a story about birth, haven't they?
Absolutely.
So you have this shield, someone goes, oh, well, when I had a baby, you go, that's nice, thanks. What your baggage doesn't affect me in my pregnancy. So we do sort of things like that, and then we have we usually have a cup of tea or something afterwards as well, so we can have a little chat and people all swap things. So become like a little sort of tribe. So you've got a friend who's been sort of saying
story sharing between the group.
What have you been up to this week? Or there's a baby clothes sale on in M&S. We're like, right, go M&S. What are you doing on Tuesday? You're on maternity leave now, let's go and have a cup of tea.
And it's nice to have personal touch as well. So it's not just about the exercise, it's about the bonding and the building a group. And the support group, which is what the women get that come to us. They've got that support network.
You've got somebody who thinks along the similar lines.
And they're at the same time in their life going through the same journey, even though their experiences will be completely different.
Exactly. You've got
and you need that. I think women need that. Maybe
you do, because sometimes
they need it, but they wouldn't admit it.
Because sometimes when you're in that situation and you're pregnant and you're getting ready for birth, your friends might not be in that same life space as you. So it's nice to have maybe a new friend or somebody that you can say, do you know what?
I think it's nice to start that journey with something, it is, really.
So, and obviously again when you're on maternity leave and your both at home with babies,
Sure.
you've got a person.
And they're going through something that you might have gone through last week, or vice
Yeah.
versa.
Which is the same with the group, isn't it?
Yeah.
With the new
And you can
baby.
turn up in your pyjamas with Zip on your shoulder.
It's all fine.
Do I smell really bad? Okay. We need those friends. Yeah.
It's interesting when you were saying about movement, because that's something that we do a lot, isn't it, in our classes, because quite often we get fixated on the gravity, but actually movement in birth is so important.
Just to help
so important.
the baby kind of gravitate down into the pelvis.
So we
again,
do.
this is ideal
we do.
to...
Yeah, we do things with strength, but also we do things where we relax and release, and you're in a position so baby's got wiggle room.
Perfect.
So you don't want to be holding baby, because so when you're thinking about positioning or things, babies, they still, they're quite cramped up, wiggle around, especially sort of as we're beginning to ask them to want to turn.
Descend.
To descend down. We don't want to be doing anything where we just think stop. No. Contract, release, which works really well, because, and again, a lot of the movements that we do are things I would say to the ladies, you could use this in labour, this would probably feel quite nice in labour, sort of the way you're moving, and we're really lucky in this country with the midwife care that we have, because in places like Spain and things, you don't have an option as to how you have your baby. So here we have so much, so if you can educate yourself, so
and be the fittest you can be.
Put
in
yourself
the best shape you can be.
a good starting point. With the education and the practice.
So
really good. Sorry, I put you off.
I was going to say something else, I've already said that.
You could say it again.
We got that.
So I think the key is staying as fit and healthy as you can, getting the right teacher. With
Yes.
whatever you do, whether you're doing antenatal education,
And there's a lot of
Pilates,
charlatans out there, and I think
There
that
are.
you need to do your research with that. And find somebody that is specifically trained to do pregnancy related Pilates like yourself.
And to ask other people what they've done. So somebody might be lovely, they might be a wonderful, wonderful person, but if they don't have the background or the technical training and knowledge, you're putting your body in their hands, and it's the same with any physical activity that you do. And I take my training very seriously, and there are people around who are doing things and you're like, that's not optimal. There are other things you could do. That's the thing, it's being pregnant doesn't limit you to what you can do. You just need someone who can think and go, right, you want to work your arms, we'll do this. You want to work your abs, we can do this, but you're not doing a plank, you're not crunching, you don't need
And also,
to.
once you've learned something the wrong way, it's much harder to break that bad habit. Voice of experience. As you know.
But it is, again, and I do find that the ladies who've done the pregnancy Pilates, when they come back postnatally, they're weeks ahead.
Really?
In the training programme, they come back in, they can breathe for a start, they know how to breathe, they have a sense of awareness of what they're trying to achieve as well. So when you have a baby in your belly, you've got some core stability, because that baby is keeping you stable. Afterwards, when you don't have that, you feel a little bit through the middle. When you've got an idea of what that stability, how you create that stability with your breath and your muscles, even if it doesn't happen to start with, because those muscles are a little bit stretched, they know where they're going. Whereas if you come in and you've not had any idea about how to breathe or how to move in this way, it takes a little bit longer for the body to go, that's what you're after. So it's
basically
basically
with the right exercise, the right antenatal education, postnatally. Big
You're
tick.
come to a winner.
Because if we're saying earlier about being labour being like a marathon for some people, a really big physical feat. If you're strong going into that, you're not going to be so tired afterwards. I'm not saying you're not going to be tired, and you can probably see the difference in people who are physically strong. That they can stay on the spot for longer. They're happier there rather than they're like, my legs just can't hold me. My legs just can't hold me.
And if you're better prepared antenatally, whether it's with your education or with your fitness, mentally you cope better afterwards as well.
I find that the people who have done their antenatal care, because I'm not an antenatal, not a midwife, I'm not
Yeah.
an antenatal. We talk about how birth affects the body and pregnancy affects the body and how we should exercise and why in preparation for birth, but the people who've had the antenatal education as well, they've got it all going on up here. So by the time they come back, yes, it's a shock to the system having a newborn baby to look after, but they're happier with their birth.
Sure. Yeah.
They were aware of what was going to happen.
positive,
They've got a little bit more of an idea
And
about
their expectations are managed. Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is.
You're not going to come out looking like Victoria Beckham. Sadly.
Not straight away.
unless you know, like Kate Middleton, you have a team of stylists that come in and do you before you
We would all look
Yes.
You don't just shop off in your gym jam. I don't care. I'm going in my pajamas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So we're going to do some exercises now, but we're not going to film that.
Yeah.
So,
That's a lot.
Totally.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
So just very quickly, Alex, so just tell us where you are and how people can get in touch with you.
So I'm based in Southbourne.
Okay.
This is my little studio, which is at the bottom of my garden in Paisley Road. So it's not somewhere that you can actually see, but you can find. So you can find me on Facebook, Paisley Pilates. You can find me on the internet. My website is not ideal, but all my contact details are there. So it's paisleypilates.co.uk.
Fabulous.
You can Instagram me at Paisley Pilates. I'm everywhere.
Right.
Or you